Happy Saturday, everybody, and welcome to Woodbine Racing Live on a beautiful Saturday afternoon here in Toronto. The weather is gorgeous for today's program. 10 races in store for you on this afternoon's card. Jeff, we're finally getting into what feels like spring. I was just talking to somebody the other day, and we were saying, I think we're a month behind.
It feels like it.
Yeah, and now things are getting green, the leaves are coming out, and you were even saying, when are we going to get onto this grass course?
I know, and we kind of looked at the condition book. We're thinking towards the end of May. We're going to get on.
Looks like the first Thursday.
Yeah, going to get onto the grass. And now, if you're not familiar with the grass situation, E.P. Taylor will be shut down about halfway through the year because they're going to redo the old portion of the turf course. That inside turf course, that is valued real estate this season. So you're going to see a lot better quality horses in that course coming up this year. But signs too that the calendar is changing. We've got 2-year-olds tomorrow.
Yes, yeah.
We've got route racing today. A lot of 7 furlong races, and there's a lot of races this weekend where I put, are these specific horses, are they tight enough going 7/8 or a mile to 16th?
Yeah, and there's a lot of horses, at least on today's program, that are making their first starts of the year that are very interesting. Next Pitch is one of them for John LeBlanc, and we're going to catch up with him, hopefully, when he comes over to saddle. But also, I think Darwin Benak has an opportunity to do some good things on today's program. Just, you know, some nice horses on today's card. And like Jeff mentioned, our first opportunity to go around 2 turns as well. Now, some breaking news. Sandman, he's going into the Preakness.
That is a bit of a surprise. And I wonder if they looked at it and they said, well, no sovereignty, journalism's on the fence, you know, maybe it's going to come up a little bit light, we'll give it a bit of a go. He ran okay in the Derby, you know, he ran okay. He's going to cut back, obviously, in distance for the Preakness, but, you know, he's a horse that's, I still think we've seen the bottom of as of yet. Like I still think he's a little bit on the green side of things, but yeah, we'll see if he's able to do some damage.
I saw on the news this morning that Metallica was playing a concert in the United States yesterday and actually caused a seismic, what do you call this? Seismic, you said exactly what it is. Yeah. They basically caused the ground to quake. Yeah, that's how loud it was.
No, that's, listen, they came here and we missed going, one of our good friends went, but just, they would put on an amazing show. So yeah, no, huge marks to Team Sandman for giving it a go in the Preakness.
Absolutely, and speaking about putting on a big show, what happened on Sunday's program, last Sunday's program, when Patches came out, man. Okay, first of all, when he came into the saddling area, Jeff, I thought he looked the best he's ever looked. He had good weight on him, dappled from head to tail. You know, Bob played a trick on me and got me to believe him too, that he was away down in Florida, but he wasn't. He was at Buttagates. They ever do a fantastic job with this guy.
108 buyer he got too, and you know, she never really asked him either. You know, she just kind of says, "Keep your mind on business in here." How many go against him? The Jacques Cartier, do you think?
Well, that's the thing. And you know what was interesting too? When I went over to interview Sophie and Bob and Frank, and I said, you know, he broke the track record. She went, what? They didn't even realize that the horse had broken the track record. But yeah, he's like one of the fastest horses in North America.
And the horse that had the previous mark is no slouch. That's Arzak. That's a multiple stakes winner too. So yeah, kudos goes out to Patches. Magnificent train job done by Bob Tiller. And the one thing that I found very interesting in the interview that when you caught up with Bob says, I rarely bet, but I bet the horse. Yeah. Because that's how confident I was he was going to run a big
And he got $3.
Yeah, which was pretty surprising.
Not bad. Yeah, really exciting and looking forward to seeing him in the Jacques Cartier. At least that's where they are pointed towards for the next start out. Now, something we've been doing that's new this season that's actually quite beneficial, I think, right now, is to get a clocker report from morning, for morning workouts from our head clocker, Ernie Perry. And this information, now that we've done it a number of times, we're starting to figure it out, because the first day we did it, I think he rated the track a 4 out of 5, and then he rated it a 4.5 out of 5, and we're like, I just can't, tell me what a 3.5 is. Now, last week, he rated the track on Sunday a 3.5, which is what he rated it for, at least at the beginning, before the break. Now, after the break, he changed it. This is the first time we've seen this, to 4.5. So obviously, the track got faster after the Harrow break.
Right, and that will happen for a variety of different reasons. First of all, it's obviously, after you harrow it, it's in more pristine condition. But other than that, I think another factor that you have to focus on is the fact the temperature gets a little bit warmer,
too. Yeah, the sun comes out, too.
So you have to keep an eye on that, because on the weekends, the track's open from 6 to 10. He thought the inside was maybe the place to be, especially around the 7/8 pole. A horse to keep an eye on is Sunlets. And this is where this is very important for us, because he's given us some He gave us a 2-year-old earlier on for the barn of Kevin Attard. He gave us Sunlit now as a 3-year-old filly that hasn't raced yet for conditioner Barb Mitchell. And he thinks the best race in the program is going to be race number 7 on the card. And that is a very interesting race going 7/8 of a mile. So Kevin Attard obviously very well represented in that race.
We don't quite know, obviously, how this track's going to play out yet. We'll have a better handle on it after we get through the first couple of races. But one thing I will say is that last Sunday, this track was extremely fair.
Yeah.
Horses raced the way we thought they would.
Yeah, I would agree with that. And if there's ever a bias, it tends to come more to the forefront when you get longer distance races too, because we're going 5, 5.5. More often than not, it's a speed type of race, right? But when you start to go 7/8 and a mile of 16th, that's traditionally when you start to see a bit of a bias maybe developing.
Well, and as you mentioned, today we're going to have our first 2-turn race. So we look forward to that a little bit later on in the program. That'll go as race number 9 on today's card. Lots to talk about on today's show, starting in race number 1 on the program. Now, you know how this works now. You've all seen this a little bit, where we have our topics that go up on the screen and we rattle through them. We have about 2 minutes to talk about each one of the topics. And I think we're ready to get started, right?
We are.
Okay, first topic for the day today is the topic Savage.
We're not sure if this was a horse trying to bite another horse or a horse trying to bite a whip or trying to bite a jockey, but we're going to show you the replay coming up in a little while in here, and it's in regards to Legally Charitable because the Equibase caller does not put it in the notes. Our Equibase caller would have caught it.
Absolutely.
But Legally Charitable is one that tried to take a bite out of the opposition, and we'll show you exactly what we mean right now. As I like the fact the horse has been winter raced as well. Watch the number 9 in this spot. So things are going relatively smoothly here at this portion. This horse actually broke on the lead, Elisa, and then the rider, Eric Asmussen, took the horse back. But watch the 9 here. We're going to slow it down here and watch the stick with the 1 horse in here and just see, does he try to bite the whip? We thought maybe initially that the whip inadvertently hit her horse.
That she got struck in the nose.
That's going to happen right here. We're going to slow it down right now, and you can see exactly what's about to materialize in here. Right, coming up, right. Going to take a bite of the opposition, right there.
Right? So guaranteed, the horse didn't get his nose whacked with the stick at all. She just was not happy about what was going on her inside, and she gave him a little, I'm a little PO'd, gave him a little warning bite.
That's right. And you know what? We're eventually second best after that. Now, that is a term that is used in horse races. It's called savaging another horse when they will do that, when they actually bite. And sometimes you see it down the stretch.
Yes.
It's not very often you see it, but you will see it
cool
from
when
time
you
to
do
time.
See it.
I like it myself. A little bit of feistiness.
It's normally aggressive horses that
The
do
Florida
that.
Panthers do that a lot against the Toronto Maple Leafs. That's not really legal, but anyways, nonetheless. And the thing with Legally Charitable that I wrote down is 5 furlongs ? And does that maybe help out Drexler's horse, that being Silver Bullet Lady, who might be a little bit more fleet of foot?
Well, Silver Bullet Lady was ready at first asking last season, but look at this. It's 2s for all of us here, with the exception of the morning line, which made Silver Bullet Lady the favorite. But we're all looking at Legally Charitable. For Norm McKnight, who is sitting on a career number.
Yes. Close to 1,000.
Close to 1,000 victories should happen this season.
I would think so,
So that's always good news. But yeah, looks to get his first win of the season here in race number 1 on the program. Our second topic today is this topic next gen, or next gen.
Remember when we used to be next gen?
No, we're
now
not anymore.
We're the old gen now.
We were Gen X.
Yes, we were at one
now,
time.
this new generation, they're called what now? These aren't millennials.
I can't remember.
These are something else. But this kid might be a millennial.
Yeah, so this is a new apprentice to us here at Woodbine. This is Zerrell Ford, and Mike Luter has got his book. So I called Mike up to say, what do we have in terms of a rider? And a young kid in his early 20s. And he has ridden not a ton at Garrison Savannah. And right now, he is a 10-pound bug. And you and I believe that will transfer over those wins to us here in North America. So should he win today, we think he becomes a 5-pound bug.
We think so. Now, back in the day, he would have been maybe a 7-pounder. But if he happens to win here today, he should become a 5-pounder. He has 2 mounts on today's program. The first one comes up in the opener on the program, where he'll ride for Krista Cole. That's a big, allowance to get that 10 pounds.
For sure.
And he's represented by one of our top agents here, who has represented some wonderful riders over the years. A Secret Butterfly is the other horse that he'll have for Zelko Kretschmar, and that's later on in today's program. I think, can't remember if that's in the last race or what, but yeah, we'll see him a couple of times on today's program, bookends. He's in the first race and the last
race. That's a long way. But you know what? As a bug, I would like that.
Yeah.
because you can talk to other riders.
True.
You can get on the equisizer. You can watch replays and stuff like that, right? So, and you're right about Mike. He developed Emma, you know, and he said he had Jim McElhinney for a long, long time. So he's got a very good coach in his corner.
All right, let's go to our next topic, which comes up for you in race number 2 on the program today, where we kick off the guaranteed pick 5 going 5/8 of a mile. Now, there is a scratch in this spot. We're taking out the first-time starter, gets us down to a field of 7. Now, Dave Gittins had, sorry, I always call him Dave.
Devin.
I am so sorry, Devin, that I always call you Dave, but it's Devin. So Devin Gittins had 2 horses in this race. The 1 horse is a scratch, the 2, so that's a vet scratch from this race. And I think really he sends out probably the livest horse in this race, that being Hyper Holiday, because Hyper Holiday, albeit finishing second, beaten 12 lengths, still has a race underneath her belt.
Right, and you have to remember the winner of that race. That was a Danny Yu horse that, I think they were taking a bit of an edge when they dropped the horse last year, but has some behavioral issues but a lot of talent and crushed. So no shame in losing that one by a wide margin. You've got Get Out the Vote, who comes out of the same race as well. But man, you do have some professional mains this race. Hyper Holiday, Easter Sunday Girl. You've got Sloan Sky as well. So you've landed on Hyper Holiday. I'm going to go towards Houlihan in here. The only question I have is the distance. Can the horse be effective going just 5/8 of a mile? We did see a Warren LeBlanc horse run okay opening day, so I'm kind of hoping that trend does continue with Cheyenne Kerr doing the ride in here. But when you open up your Racing 101 handbook and say degree of difficulty, Maiden 10,000 claimers are there. Why? Because they are so inconsistent.
Yes. I used to love my last race on the program at Fort Erie when it was maidens for
12
5.
of them? 12 of them went in the gates to wrap up
on the
card?
turf, too.
When you need a winner to wrap up the day?
Exactly. So that's race number 2, a tough race you have to get through to play the pick 5 on today's program. Next topic we're going to discuss, and Jeff's not trying to scare you here, but boo!
Yeah, that's right. And we're not trying to scare you when we look at the replay either, because we're going to show you a replay, and these days are so far away from us that I shouldn't even show this replay.
I know, when you look at it, you're like,
see exactly
whoa.
what I mean here in a couple of seconds. Scary Boo, the last time that she ran, it was like minus 10 degrees Celsius. It was a wicked snowstorm on that day. But S1 Flores did a great job of going in and out and between horses, and it was a good run. And just looks awful. It looks so terrible. But the distance was at 6 furlongs. Look at the works coming in. Now, the one thing that I would kind of summarize, and I think you agree, is I think this barn's going to be better second time.
Me too. Because, I respect John, but, some of his horses came over the other day and he said, I might just need a start, right?
Yeah.
And it could be the same thing for this one.
Yeah, he had one horse run very well off the layoff that I liked. And obviously, that, was it Prima? I think it was Prima.
Yeah, Prima.
And, but luck, the 2 here runs really well to finish in the second place position. Now, can this horse be effective going 5.5? I think so. I think we can probably get up and do some pretty good things in there. Now, I land on a horse. Elisa knows me so well. Sometimes I will pick horses like 2 or 3 times, and then I jump off the bandwagon in the air. Now, Fanny M, she did not run up to expectations last time out. But you remember what happened that race? Because I thought she was lone speed, but there was a first-time starter from the Barretts and Sadu outfits, and that one's name was Buff Bay. And Buff Bay put away this horse. On paper, Elisa, I don't think anybody can keep up early on with Fanny M.
Well, that's the thing. I wrote down in my notes, too, she disappointed as a horse that I think a lot of us thought she was a key on the opening day program. But I'm going to go back to her one more time. See, I will jump off the bandwagon. Now, this one here, he's loyal to a fault sometimes.
It seems like I love the toxic relationships, Elisa. I just keep going back.
All righty, so we'll watch for Fanny M, but also keep your eye on Scary Boo in race number 5 on today's card. What's our next topic? Oh, speaking of toxic relationships. No, we haven't got to that one yet. We haven't got to that topic yet.
Yeah,
the
not
first
yet.
topic, I saw it and I was like, here's a great segue, Elisa, but it didn't work out. Cutback is the next one that we want to talk about. When we refer to cutback, we're talking about race number 7 on today's program.
Right, and it's Bull Rapasso, that is the subject, because I find it's always interesting when trainers elect to debut in rail races.
I agree.
Does that mean they are slow? Does that mean they're better finishers? Does that mean they're stayers? Does that mean they can be effective when sprinting in here? And Donnie McRae, he sent out a horse that was going in a route race, and it was kind of an odd spot too, because she was in against the boys on December the 8th, but she has a really good rally here on the outside. I think she's still a little bit green when I watch this replay. Like when I watch her stride, I don't know if she's really extended her stride fully. Like I think like she kind of carries her neck up high, her head's up high a little bit in here. But here she is right now on the outside, and this is where Davy Moran's riding on this day, and it's the chestnut here on the outside who's right there. And you know, kind of leaning in a little, just not sure what's going on. And you think the 5, to use a harness term, maybe re-engage this horse a little bit.
That's what I think. You know, I'm wondering if maybe Donnie was always working this filly in company. Obviously, you know, when she was a young horse, she would have. And when she hooked up beside that 5 horse, she kicked it into another gear because, you know, her memory told her, oh, I'm supposed to go with this one. So we've seen that an awful lot in harness racing where, you know, a horse looks like it's really fading and then another one will come up beside it and re-engage it. And I think that's what happened to Bold Raposo in that debut race. Now we're going to go 7/8 to start things out here today. I think, you know, Kevin's got a live shot in this race, you know, with limoncello. Hey, did you have any limoncello spritz over the winter? Because that was one of your goals, wasn't it?
Yeah, well, but my partner in crime, remember I was supposed to come down for, what was it?
My Christmas party, which you bailed on. Yes.
Yeah, but the weather was really bad in my defense. Yes, so I would have had some limoncello spritz there for sure. But, yeah, so I do think that Kevin is, I think both Kevin's horses look really alive in there.
Yeah.
And listen, you can't toss any Kevin's horses right now.
You cannot.
And by the way, you brought this to my attention. This is the last day that Pietro was riding as a teenager.
I know. Tomorrow's a big day.
Turn 20.
I know.
He might actually have to shave at some point.
Well, it'll be a fun day tomorrow when we celebrate his birthday, okay, up next is the heartbreak one.
Right.
Yes, and look, buddy, I watched this one with you, and I would agree. There was definitely some heartbreak.
So here's the backstory with this horse. This horse is in race number 8, and this one's name is Ever Dangerous. So I was at home watching the race at Gulfstream, as I usually do. And I just saw this horse, and I'm like, first time Drexler. I think the horse kind of looks live to Tori's riding. And Ever Dangerous has a wide trip on this day, gets the lead at the top of the stretch, and I'm like, all right, we're 7-2. Might cash myself a nice little ticket. You want to see a horse re-engage when getting past, watch this horse right now. So we're going to watch the 6 in here right now on the outside, and this is Ever Dangerous, who runs a huge figure on this thing. Got a 90 buyer for this performance. But obviously we're covering a lot of ground in here. The eventual winner is right here in the tracking position, the second flight, and that one was sent off at odds of 6-5, that being King Dioro. But watch once we get past how this horse will kick back in again. So right now we're getting to the front end. I'm starting to get a little excited right now, Lisa. I'm like 7-2 winner, let's go. And I think it's going really, really nicely. And now here comes this horse with a big chest on the outside. But just watch, once King Dioro passes our horse, watch how this horse comes back on. And we eventually lose this race by a nose.
And it's really not till the final couple of jumps when he comes back on, too.
And I watched the replay a couple times, because you can't tell where the wire is on this synthetic here. And I watched the slow-mo, and I was like, oh, I got a good bob. But wasn't good enough.
You know what? I'm going to say the same thing, but for a completely different horse, and that is the 4 Journeyman. You and I were here. We watched that day that he drifted out to the outside path, remember? And then he ended up being DQ'd. But after that, you want to talk about a horse who, you know, suffered some rough losses. I watched a lot of those races from this horse over the winter months when he was down at Tampa, and he got himself into a jackpot on many different occasions. Not necessarily always his fault, but certainly had some trips where, you know, he just lacked racing room. And right now, I think, you know, the fact that both these horses have that winter fitness, that could certainly help them out. I know from the Daily Racing Form article, though, that Ron Gearking
really
wrote,
good article.
Yeah, very good article about Rosscar mainly. And, you know, that this horse was geared towards going to Keeneland, but then there was a foot issue. And so Rachel opted to bring this horse, you know, to wait and bring the horse here. Now, we know this horse wants to go an extended distance of ground. And turf. Yeah, but you got to start somewhere.
And then you've got Essex Serpent, who's one of the biggest question marks the entire day.
Yeah, that's true. Making the first start since last season. We haven't seen him since the Prince of Wales. So something obviously went awry last year because there was a lot of chatter about him for the plate.
I picked him on the plate, I think.
Me too, and he just didn't show up. So that's race number 9, which, by the way, is our first race of the season, going around 2 turns. Next race we want to talk about today is the 10th. And the topic, of course, being 25 versus 24. So last year versus this year. This race is where we play the Jackpot High Five, which has got a carryover of over $12,000, 15 non-2, and you do get a field of 8. I kind of look towards Darwin Banak. I think Darwin sends out 2 very live horses on today's card.
And remember, we talked to him at the end of last year, and we said, because he claimed a bunch of horses,
Tons, yeah.
and we said, Darwin, are you going to go away? He said, yeah, I'm going to Brampton Downs.
That's right. That's right.
And then we said, why are you claiming so many? Well, because I want to take advantage of the waiver claim when we come back. And they were doing just that with a bunch. Now, English Jubilee, she is not really a horse that you think is 7/8. But if they fly up front, and we obviously need a neutral racing strip or a strip helping no closers today because she's got no pace at all. But I think it was one of those situations last year. I realized she only got up to win by a nose last year, Lisa. I think it was one of those where Cassidy just said, we got to move on from this horse.
Well, they dropped the horse from 40 in for $15,000. But I like the way that Darwin was thinking last year.
Yeah,
and I'm hoping too, because first of all, you claim the horse, right? So you got that money that you've put up and your winter money that you've put up as well. So hopefully things will turn out for them today and they'll find themselves in the winner's circle. At least on paper, they look like they're going to have a pretty good day. So that's race number 10 on this afternoon's program as we take a look ahead at some of our plays of the day. Now, look, I think tomorrow's card is tough. We can go long shot shopping, but today it seems a little chalky.
I would agree with that. I would agree. I'm going with the Fitness Edge in the opener with Legally Charitable, just hoping that might get the better of the Drexler horse in that spot. That being Silver Bullet Lady. Hoodless, that's going to be my key in the pick 5 segment. It's Kevin Attard, that's all you got to know.
Yeah.
I can't wait to see Rowan along. He's a big, beautiful horse. He's like a Rolls Royce type of a horse. And my late double key is the horse Ever Dangerous. If any horse owes me one, it's Ever Dangerous off that beat to wrap up his Gulfstream Park campaign.
Well, I got one that owes me one too as my play of the day as well. So I've got Glashwegan as my best bet from the Darwin Banak outfit. It's a Stormy Monday is a horse that I really certainly like, but I like Next Pitch in that race too, so I'm suggesting, play them in an exactor, certainly box them. But yeah, I've used Journeyman. I've seen him do some pretty cool things on either the turf or on the main track. He can go to the front. Lately, he's been looking for kind of a stalking trip, but I wouldn't be surprised to see a big effort from him. And then I say beware of English Jubilee in race number 10 on the program. What do we got as far as our friends upstairs are concerned? Well, Doug has gone to Glashwegan at 2-1 morning line, and Ron's taken a horse at 6-1. 40-5, who will show up in race number 8 on today's card. And that horse is the 3 in this spot. That one goes out for Josie Carroll. I would say maybe not a fan of the grass in some of his races, and he should do very well on the synthetic surface today.
I happened to be at Gulfstream the day that he ran there, and he beat a really highly thought of Pletcher horse in that race. He lost the race, but he finished second. He lost to not a bad horse, but he beat a Pletcher horse on that day. I think Ron's on to a good one there in 40-5.
Alrighty, and then as far as our clocker Ernie Perry is concerned, he's got a couple of horses for you to watch today as well. The first one comes up for you in race number 8. It's Maps a Breeze for conditioner Sandy McPherson, the father of Doug McPherson. 4-1 is the price on this horse, and he's talking about a work on April the 14th. It was a quick 47 and galloped out extremely strong, so that's one that you might want to watch for. And the other one comes up in the 10th race, and that's Save the Date for Pat Dixon. 20-1 morning line. I love it when he gives us these types of horses because, originally I looked at Save the Date. I used him at the bottom of my super, but I like that Ernie has highlighted him here on today's program, and that's thanks to the workout on the 27th in 48-4. So watch for that horse, especially at 20-1, maybe one to include in your jackpot high five.
Yeah, but I got that 1/3 of my picks as well, so I hope that they're bang on with that assessment.
Alrighty, well that gets us through the 10 on today's program. We are going to take a quick commercial break. When we come back, Robert Geller will join us in the studio.
Love horse racing? HPIBet.com is Canada's leader in online horse betting. Access thousands of live races from hundreds of tracks worldwide instantly. Enjoy the most advanced betting tools like AI Smart Picks and exclusive cashback rewards you won't get anywhere else. Join today and get up to $100 in free bets. Get the ultimate horse betting experience with HPIBet.com.
Johnny Walker Black Label is sing with notes of sweet, smooth toffee, rich fruit, and a touch of smoke. Tastes as good as it sounds.
Always nice to have Robert join us in the studio. Three's company too, right?
Oh,
Come
You
on,
know,
again.
come and knock on our door.
I like the tune.
Yes. Now here's the thing. This is new to have all three of us standing up together to
Right.
discuss some horses
Yes.
that have caught your attention. Now we are going to catch up with Mr. LeBlanc about
Yeah.
his horse Next Pitch, but this one is a horse that you're looking forward to today.
I'm excited because this horse, we saw that really gutsy first lifetime win. Haven't seen the horse since. So these are horses that I'm excited to see back. I think they've all shown potential. Obviously, John gave this horse a lot of time to develop and has had really nice works. I just thought it was a terrific performance in this first lifetime start. We'll take a look at
Wasn't
that.
this the horse that hurt John?
Yes, I think this
Yeah.
is the
There's
one
a
that hurt his
history.
shoulder. Yeah.
There's a score to be settled.
Next pitch owes John a couple of wins, I would say.
I would say so. And I think, it was a terrific ride by David Morrow. The horse coming off the inside to tackle Jagger's. Jagger's got a gun. And what happens down the lane is that it got pretty close. Jagger's got a gun was plucky on the inside. I like the determination. I liked the way this horse ground the leader down, and they came a little bit clear. And we'll just have to wait and see how this race pans out in terms of setup. That was a very good setup. Certainly, It's a Stormy Monday, who is your selection, Elisa, is definitely another horse that really has good form for
I
this
feel
race.
like we should play them in an exactor box, right? Because I can't
Yep.
really say
Yep.
that Donnie's horse is going to win, and I can't really say that LeBlanc's horse is
Yeah.
going to win. I like them both.
Me too.
I just hope the one at the better price finishes up on top for the exactor.
And they're, at the morning line, I think they're equal favourites. But you
yeah.
did sing a little bit there, so maybe Next Pitch has the edge.
Alrighty, so next one that caught your eye is a horse by the name of Pierre that we're going to see in the 8th race on today's program. Talk about that one a little
Well,
bit.
I've always loved Pierre. Ever since that very first lifetime start, Jeff, you remember how incredible. The horse made up tons of ground, but Pierre, to me, really showed the talent that is in this horse's pedigree with the King's Plate. Whoops, hello.
The Old Wellings haven't lost a race yet this year.
They haven't lost a race.
And they have a plate possibility too.
And they are a great combination with Alan Elberling's colours. This was a very good performance in the King's Plate, running up in 3rd spot. The question mark was the distance, but comes back at a very nice trip, 7 furlongs. Very disappointing performances by a lot of horses in the Prince of Wales. There were excuses for sure, and now we've had a long time off, and this is going to be interesting because Pierre's a first-time gelding. Starting to really feel the pressure, but stuck on and was really not far from Caitlin, Her Greatness, My Boy Prince, Midnight Mascot, clear of the others. But to me, has a lot of talent. This horse can win from any position. I do think it's a very good field. A couple of other horses in the race, I just noted that I think you'll get Mapsabreeze, I noticed that Ernie Perry has as the Hawker report. Very nice form line. And I think one horse that's being overlooked is Wyoming Bill. I'm not sure how forward this runner is, but I like the performances of Wyoming Bill near the lead. But for me, I think Pierre's really very dangerous first up right away.
All right, the other horse, that came out of the plate that was a little disappointing in the plate A and in the Prince of Wales is Essex Serpent. Now we're seeing this horse come back first start as a 4-year-old today. He's got to go around 2 turns. He's taken on some older rivals. What do you think about him?
Well, there are question marks because I almost felt when I called that win by Essex Serpent in the Marine Stakes, which I thought was a great win, it almost felt like things had come very quickly for this runner. And maybe the fact was he paid the price going straight into the King's Plate and also going on to the Prince of Wales with performances that were subpar. He was probably the first horse beaten in the King's Plate, which was a shock. But and we've had a lot of time, if those works and that type of performance is reproduced, he'd be very dangerous to me. Having said that, we've had a couple of favourites from the Mark Cassey barn in stakes races and type of allowance levels that have disappointed first up. But as Essex Serpent coming down the home stretch, defending that lead all the way, I liked the toe, the early foot shown and the ability to really respond. Everything points to this horse being a return to good form straight away. And I think with Manfred and Penny Conrad, I always feel that that they've got quality horses, so I'm going to give a pass to his last two, which were, very dubious performances, really.
The horses in that race that should set the race up, the speed horse, is Makwa. Now, listen, Makwa has some problems up here, right? And we all know that. His problems are at the gate most times, right? I think you've talked about that before. Like, he almost has to be reschooled at the gate a lot, which is really unusual for an older horse, but he'll be the speed of that race.
I really like his chances at a price. I see 10-1 morning line. I really love the bullet work. He's one of my horses that's always been at the back of my mind as a horse to keep in your bets as a saving bet, because he's dangerous. He's definitely dangerous here on the lead. He has run well against other horses, and I think one of the horses that was so promising last season, another one I'm excited to see back is Dresden Row. And he ran a mighty good race to Dresden Row, and if he gets his own way in front, that work tab and his ability to just be sent on the lead could be really a chance for him to pull off an upset win. Here he is in the stretch, weakening in the Steady Growth Stakes, but it was stacked with good performers in that race. And, we've had Ron's Gizmo being a star last season. There's a number of horses who've been really right on the money in that field. I think that it's a very good field. And down the stretch, look how late in the piece Marquardt gave up the lead. To me, that was a mighty good finish. 4 across the track, and I think watch out at 10-1. The other horse that really intrigues me is Roskar. I've always liked this horse. Was a winner early in his career on the Tapeta, and I thought was no fluke in the Breeders' Stakes. I think that the last run too, before the layoff, the winner of that stakes race got a very easy, soft pace. It was very hard for those young horses to come into it on a wet track. So I think this is a deeper field than it looks, but I do like those, and they're the horses I'm excited to see back in what looks to be our first route race, and at 1.16 miles.
Yeah, lots of firsts this weekend. Of course, first time going long. We'll have babies on tomorrow's program, which is always fun too. Going to be
a lot of 3-year-olds that were really good last year. Can they transfer over to 4 this season?
Exactly. And I saw that you were saying, of the horses that are coming back from that against the ones with proven form. That is a really big question today.
Yeah. Alrighty. Good stuff, buddy.
More
Lots
music.
of horses to watch.
More singing.
3's company, 2.
Thank you.
Alrighty, 10 races on today's program. Robert's going to head upstairs. Jeff and I'll get back to the desk, and good luck with all your selections and your handicapping today.